Chapter 9 is where we start getting into my favorite parts of the book, the human element. This is about the people who make or break every project. Software projects are people projects. They're business process projects. But at the end of the day, they're human projects. I've never seen a technology project fail purely because of technology. And in 2026, technology is a commodity. It works. Most systems are great. Every failure I've witnessed had a human story at its core. Resistance that wasn't addressed, stakeholders who weren't aligned, change that was imposed rather than built. Technology implementations are human change projects that happen to involve software. Get the human part wrong, and nothing else will matter. So how do you win the hearts and minds of people that have been using the same tools for the last 20 years and are really good at their jobs, but now you're going to make them go through a new implementation, learn something new, put their careers at risk? You start with the why. People don't resist change because they're being difficult. Yeah, there's those people, but most people don't. They resist change because they haven't been given a compelling reason to embrace it. So start with why this matters for them, not for the organization's strategic plan. And the chapter talks about what's in it for me. Define it and you'll find success. Next is champions over trainers. Now, training is a big part of any implementation, but vendor-delivered training teaches button clicks. But internal champions teach context. Why does this matter? How does this connect to your work? What's different and what's better? How is it going to make your life easier? But you also need to acknowledge the loss. Every modernization effort requires giving up something. Familiar tools, the spreadsheet you created that just does the work for you because your old system won't. Established workflows that you know in and out. Hard-won expertise. Acknowledging what people are losing is the foundation for helping them embrace what they're gaining. And you also need to have your stakeholders aligned. Getting stakeholders to agree on what they want is relatively easy. Getting them to agree on what they're willing to give up is where alignment falls apart. And you need early honesty. In phase 0, this is critical. Surfacing trade-offs before they become crises is critically important. The organization that confronts difficult trade-offs in phase 0 handles them deliberately. The one that discovers them during implementation handles them in panic. You also need to talk about political dynamics. Technology projects, especially in government, are inherently political. Pretending that they're not doesn't make the politics go away. It just means that they operate beneath the surface where they're harder to manage, harder to track, harder to surface. So stakeholder alignment determines whether your governance structures actually function or become political theater. So how do you do this? First is identify your top 5 stakeholders and assess their current alignment. And when I say stakeholders, they're not just in IT or finance or HR. Stakeholders are people that will have a stake in this project, in its success, in its failure, and that can include the end user. 2 is mapping the informal influence networks. And this determines adoption success because there are tribal alliances and knowledge and groups within your organization that are very different from what's on the org chart. And the last one is designing your champion selection criteria. Who has the credibility and the willingness to take this on as a champion for the project? There's a lot more in this chapter in this book. Go check it out.